Welcome to this explainer of the epic of the staff and the crown emerging from the shadows. Picture this for a moment. A simple, minimalist figure, a kind of stickman holding a plain wooden staff. He represents absolute simplicity and faith. Now, put him right in front of a massive, overwhelming empire built of heavy gold. We're talking, of course, about the legendary clash between Moses and Pharaoh. But as we dive into this text by Akram Ibrahim Rashid, you'll see this wasn't just a physical battle against armies. Oh no. It was a massive psychological war against fear, ignorance, and spiritual enslavement.
Right off the bat, the source material hooks us with this incredible thought. It is an epic that tells us the owner of the crown may fall by a strike from the owner of the staff. Honestly, that sets the stage perfectly. This isn't just some dry history lesson. It's a deep dive into a battle between having radical, absolute trust in the divine and the sheer, blinding arrogance of material power.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1. Epic of Staff and Crown. So our story actually starts in the dark, terrifying alleys of ancient Egypt. It's a time of sheer terror where brutal orders were given to eliminate newborns. But right here, from the absolute heart of fear, hope is born. Moses' mother, Jochebed, does something unimaginable. She places her baby into a tarred wooden box and casts him into the cold, dark waters of the Nile. Think about that for a second. Talk about radical trust. She didn't just push the box away, she surrendered it completely to the heavens when all earthly options were literally gone. Meanwhile, over at the palace, we see this crazy psychological contrast. You have this self-proclaimed god made of heavy marble and gold, suddenly facing a terrifying question made of simple wood. Pharaoh's cruelty? It wasn't actually strength. It was just armed cowardice. He was absolutely terrified of losing his crown. Underneath that heavy golden mask, there was a deeply rooted paranoid fear that got completely rattled by a simple floating box. That brings us to section 2, from palace to desert. We now follow Moses' journey from the luxurious silk corridors of palaces straight into the burning, unforgiving sands of Sinai. This is the fall of the prince and honestly the birth of the real man. After a fatal mistake, he loses everything: his royal Egyptian titles, his wealth, his protection. He's forced to flee barefoot and alone into the vast desert of Midian. He is literally starting over from zero. And there's this incredibly powerful moment right after. He's sitting under a tree, totally exhausted, and he admits his complete vulnerability. He says, "My Lord, indeed I am, for whatever good you would send down to me in need." It's right here, in this moment of absolute emptiness and poverty, where his ego is completely gone, that his true strength is actually forged. Moving right along to section 3, Call of Light in Tur. So years go by. Moses is out in the wild, building his spiritual resilience. Then, on a freezing, pitch-black night, he sees something impossible. A fire burning in a green tree, but it doesn't consume the branches. He walks over, just trying to find some warmth for his family. But instead, he finds this awe-inspiring, divine light that literally washes over all of existence. And then comes the call. "O Moses, indeed I am your Lord." This is a huge spiritual shift. He's commanded to take off his shoes in the sacred valley. The mission officially begins here. He's no longer just a runaway shepherd, he's a messenger. And that simple wooden staff he leans on, it suddenly becomes heavier and stronger than all the mountains on earth.
Now for section 4, Day of Adornment, Masks Break.
This is the ultimate ideological showdown. Out in the Grand Plaza, you have Pharaoh's sorcerers. They're using purple sulfur smoke, colorful illusions, and loud noises to trick the eyes and scare the crowd. It's all flash, no substance. But on the other side, Moses. He just calmly steps forward, and there's this pure, blinding white light of certainty. It completely washes out the sorcerer's fake colors. Truth doesn't need loud noises or cheap tricks to prove it's there, right? Then we hit the climax. That simple wooden staff is thrown down, and it swallows the deception whole. It turns into a real serpent and just devours all their fake, twisting magic. The truth is so undeniably clear that the sorcerers, the masters of illusion themselves, instantly fall down in prostration. In that split second, Pharaoh's golden masks are shattered right in front of his entire kingdom. Let's look at section 5. Victory in the sea's heart. So, Pharaoh's ego just won't let him accept defeat. He chases them down. Picture the immense tension here. You have the raging, crashing waves of the Red Sea in front of the Israelites, and the dust from Pharaoh's golden chariots rapidly closing in from behind.
They're absolutely trapped. They cry out in total despair, "We are overtaken." It's that terrifying feeling when every physical escape route is gone. But Moses, he doesn't look at the dark waves or the flashing swords. He looks up with booming, absolute certainty and says, "No, indeed, with me is my Lord. He will guide me." Wow. This right here is the ultimate manifestation of that radical trust we've been talking about since that tarred wooden box.
Then, with one strike of that simple staff, the laws of nature just break. The sea splits wide open, rising up like massive mountains of crystal, making an impossible path right through the heart of the waves. The believers cross safely, and when the tyrant tries to follow with all his heavy gold, the water crashes down. The man who claimed he owned the rivers is drowned in a tiny fraction of God's creation.
This brings us to our final section, radical trust and healing.
So what are the big takeaways from this explainer? Well, first, radical trust is the absolute foundation of strength. Moses didn't win with massive armies. He won by relying completely on the divine. Second, true healing starts from within. Freeing your mind from enslavement is way harder than breaking physical chains. And finally, no matter how intimidating it looks, the heavy, arrogant crown always, eventually, falls to the simple staff of truth. I want to leave you with this powerful thought from the text. The God who did not leave a helpless baby floating in a wooden box in the dark Nile will absolutely not leave you to face the crashing waves of life alone as long as you anchor your heart to him.
To close out our explainer today, the author, Akram Ibrahim Rashid, included a beautiful minimalist dedication. It reads, "A continuous prayer and light to the soul of my father, Ibrahim Rashid." Thank you so much for exploring this profound epic with us.